G'day and welcome to Choosing Your Uni. I'm Rob Malicki, and in today's episode we're in Coober Pedy in outback South Australia, and we're going to be talking about a really difficult topic, which is what the heck do you do when you're torn between two very different paths into uni or even in life in general. You know, it's so hard to make the decision whether you should go this way or that way. And the problem is that everybody has got an opinion. So in this video, I'm going to create a step-by-step framework to help you consider what your options are. And by the end of this video, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable about making the choice between one of those two options that's tearing you in half right now. And while we do it, we're going to walk around Coober Pedy, which is a pretty extraordinary place. Let's get going. How good is this?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Hey, if this is your first time here on Choosing Your Uni, best place to start is by hitting the subscribe button, and please give me the thumbs up on this video because there's a fly on my nose and that was a very impressive party trick. No, quite seriously. You know, these decisions are some of the hardest that you have to make. And so my whole work here is just to help you to make those choices by giving you unbiased information and frameworks, you know, step-by-step guides to being able to make these big decisions. So when you hit that button and turn on notifications, you'll get told every time that I'm putting out new content, which is just for you. And let's face it, if you're about to spend years of your life and tens of thousands of dollars, getting that kind of information is invaluable to you. The first thing to know is that, you know, this whole idea, this whole thing about being torn between two different options, it feels hard because it is hard, okay? So I really wanted to emphasize straight out of the gate that there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, you're not incompetent just because you haven't been able to work this out. It's really hard to try to decide what to do with your life. And that doesn't just go for like right now, wherever you are in your life. You know, maybe you're just finishing high school. It goes for everybody at every point. And the reason is because there is literally unlimited opportunity for you and choices for you to make at every second of every day. You know, am I going to walk down into town now, or am I going to walk over towards the sunrise? I don't know. Each one of them has got different ups and different downs, different positives and different negatives, and each one will take you on a different journey. You only get to do this whole thing, you know, this life thing once. So don't make it hard on yourself, and just realize that whatever you choose is just a choice, and there will be many, many other choices in front of you. The second thing that you need to know is that take the pressure off yourself, all right? You've got time. If you're like in your early 20s or in your, you know, finishing high school, you're at the end of your teens, oh my God, you have so much time to make tons of mistakes and keep moving forward and changing direction. You know, earlier this year, I've turned 40. Oh my God, 40. And earlier this year, I had to close my business because of coronavirus, an international travel business called AIM Overseas. Business has been running for 13 years. It's turning over like close to $6 million. It's a profitable business, and, you know, doing awesome work in the world, and boom, like something like coronavirus comes over and slaps you in the face. You know what? Like, I could be super stressed and upset about that, but even at 40 years old, I know that I have got heaps of time, tons of time left to work out what I want to do next and to get started on that and to do a really good job. You know, I could take the next decade really becoming the master of whatever is the next thing that I want to do. You got time, take the time, and don't feel like you need to rush. Next is don't listen to anybody. Nobody can tell you what's right for you. I can't tell you what's right for you. The only person that knows what's right for you is you. And the reason for that is that we're so complex as human beings. You know, like we put stuff out into the world, whether it's videos or Instagram or TikTok or, you know, we talk with friends about things that we like and we don't like. And people form an impression about us based on that really limited amount of stuff that we put out. But you and I both know that, you know, you are so much more complex than that. You've got all the feelings and thoughts and stuff that goes through your head underneath the surface that other people don't see. And so whilst some things might look intuitively right about you from other people, so whilst other people might think, oh yeah, that's Rob, like Rob should definitely be doing medicine, they don't know you. Maybe you're like afraid of blood and guts, and deep down you know that's true, but you just never told anybody. The only person that matters is you. Don't allow yourself to be pressured, and just make this a systematized process where you just step through the different steps in order to work out what next direction you will take. Next thing to realize, guys, is that there's no right or wrong here. it's just a choice, and it's just a direction that you're heading yourself on. And that doesn't mean that you can't change. You can always change. You know, I love this expression, which is the path is behind you. You know, we're all just walking in the dark. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know where every choice will lead us. Heck, I was running a $6 million business, right? Like, to me, I would have dreamed that one day that just got bought out and I'd be like having a really good life, right? It wasn't to be, because the path in front isn't blazed, it's just dark. The path is behind us. So don't feel like this is the be all and end all. It's just a choice. And you can always change. Years ago, I was doing a student exchange program in the UK, and one of the first people that I met was a guy that was 35, which at the time, I thought was like so old. What was so cool about this guy is that he literally just finished doing his internship to become a doctor at 35 years old. And he basically started off and gone to uni and done languages, I think it was. And after some time, he basically decided to change. Like, he knew that he actually wanted to do medicine. And so in his mid-20s, he went back and he started doing medicine. And so when I'd met him, he'd literally just finished getting through that process at 35. And you know what? He was so freaking happy. He was so happy. Once he did work it out, he was able to commit to it and get there. Take the pressure off. You're going to just have to make a choice on something. And if it doesn't work out, it's never, ever too late to change. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take some time out to go and think about this stuff. And you need to find yourself somewhere isolated. Like the middle of Cooper Pedy. Now you got to do this, right? Take yourself some pen and paper, if you remember what that is. And you've got to take yourself somewhere quiet where you can sit down and literally write on a piece of paper. Now this is really important, guys, because our brains are working in the background while we're writing. So the problem when we sit down and we type stuff out is that it goes too fast. We type too fast. And what you actually want is that as you're writing things down in this next couple of steps that I'm going to talk about, your brain is working through all these other scenarios and things in the background while you don't even realize it. And that's why writing is so powerful, because after a few moments, you're kind of like, oh, I've had this realization. There is also this other thing. But that doesn't happen when you're just sitting down typing. It happens when you're sitting down and you're writing. And as you're writing, your brain is working. This whole process that we're about to go through is really about trying to narrow things down. Okay, so it's not that suddenly one thing is necessarily going to jump out as being the absolutely 100% right decision to make. Sometimes that happens and that's amazing, but we don't have to count on it, right? What we're trying to do is to narrow down all of our choices down to the couple that might fit us best at any given moment in our lives, and then to choose the one that intuitively feels right. Because we don't know what the future holds. The future will change, as COVID has shown all of us. And so all we want to do is to choose what feels like the right direction. So to start with, let's draw some columns on our piece of paper. The first column is going to be your interests, okay? Pretty obvious. And in the first column, you want to sit down and you want to write out everything that you're interested in. Now, that might sound like a bit of overkill, but honestly, like, I think too many of us don't actually take the time to really consider the stuff that we like and the stuff that we love, the stuff that we wish we were spending more time on, and the stuff that we do but we maybe wish that we weren't spending so much time on. That can be things that you do, like playing piano or playing a sport. It could be things that you like particular authors or styles of writing. It could be particular actors that you like watching in movies. All of the things that you're interested in, write them down in that first column. In the next column, you want to write down all of your opportunities. Now remember, we're starting broad and we're going to narrow down. And so you don't want to be too specific in this column. Think about things like, you could take a gap year right now. Doesn't matter what point in your life you are, you can always take a gap year. You could get a job, start working. You can go to university, and maybe you can specify a couple of the big disciplines. Let's say you're choosing between medicine and languages. You know, put those two opportunities down there. You can do online courses. You know, one of the things I'm really passionate about right now for people just like you who are trying to work it out is to get online and do one of the thousands of cheap or free online courses that you can find out there. And so, yeah, that's a possibility for you that might help take you in the direction that you want to go. So write all of those down in the next column. This next bit is possibly the most important. When you sit down and you look at those first two columns, something hopefully will jump out at you. Something will seem to make sense. Because what you're trying to do is to match like your interests with your opportunities, your options. And you know, everybody's unique and different. But when you look through that list, all we're trying to find is the stuff that's most interesting to you, that you like doing the most, that you're most passionate about. If you've got that, where are you able to pursue that best in some way? And that's where your opportunities come in, is like which of those opportunities, those options, takes you in the right direction. You know, there is no path in front of you. All we're trying to do is to head in that direction, knowing that life is always going to change. You're always going to end up somewhere different to what you expected. And as long as we keep heading in the right direction and we keep doing exercises like this throughout our lives, we're eventually going to get pretty close to the mark of where we actually want to go. Look through your list of interests. What are they? What are you most keen on, most passionate about? Look through your list of opportunities. Where do you have the possibility of pursuing that the best? And you know what? One of the main things might be like, I don't know what I'm really interested in. That's completely okay too, guys. Because if you, for example, go traveling, you just take some time out and you go and try a whole bunch of stuff, like doing online courses, reading books, getting a whole bunch of different part-time work, volunteering, doing internships. You know, in that process of taste testing a lot of different stuff, you're going to start to discover the things that you're interested in and keen on pursuing. Then you come back to this exercise, you write down all the stuff you're interested in, you write down all of your opportunities and options, and you try to work out which might be the right thing for you to choose right now, because it's constantly changing. I've worked in student exchange, right? My job was helping people to go and have international study experiences. You know, I never knew that that existed as a job. Literally every single thing that you can think about, you can do as a job in some way. So you've got to just start broad and narrow it down, because you don't know everything and it's going to take time to work that out and to narrow that down. So once you've discovered that, now the time is simply to choose. And the reality is that there is no right, there is no wrong. You just have to choose one, and just to say, right, I'm going to start off by doing, you know, some online courses and just trying to discover subject areas that I'm most interested in. Awesome, do that. And at some point, either that will lead you in a direction that feels good, or you need to change. It's as simple as that. Hey, do you have any questions or comments for me? Please hit me up below. Whether you're a new friend or an old friend, I love answering comments. You know, my whole purpose here is to help you out. So drop them down below and I will get back to you. And here's a true story, right? When I started university, I just chose my university because I kind of liked sciences, and my brother was going to the university closest to my house, which was Macquarie University, and seemed to be having a good time there. And so I went there. And I started off basically doing the same degree that he'd signed up for. And after some time, I did biology courses, and the biology lecturers were awesome and fun. And I kind of thought, oh, biology is kind of cool. I'm going to do that. And so I chose more biology courses and ended up with a degree that had biology and atmospheric sciences and other things that I was interested in. I have not worked a day in science in my life since finishing uni. But it doesn't matter, because the skills that I learned in that degree, I literally use every day. And so the fact that you don't end up using exactly what it is you studied, discipline area, working in exactly that, it actually doesn't matter, because what you learn, the skills and that background knowledge will serve you well no matter what. So don't put any pressure on yourself thinking that you have to choose this thing and then you have to go and work in it. No, it's not like that at all. Final thing I'm going to say, guys, is this. Don't half-ass it. If you don't know what that means, it means like, don't do something and not be fully committed to it. It's the worst thing that you could do. If you choose to pursue, for example, languages, go all in on it, all right? Commit 100% to that direction and really explore whether or not that is for you. Study the language, do a trip to the destination of the language, you know, the country of the language that you're studying. Get involved with clubs and societies, meet people. Because the worst thing that happens is that we say, okay, I'm going to choose this direction, and you kind of go into it and you're doing this thing and it doesn't really feel right, and it's not really leading you anywhere, and it's not really making you happy. But worst is that you haven't eliminated it. The whole goal here is to just try things and to try and get closer to our truth. And we do that through a process of elimination. And just by continuing to eliminate things, continuing to choose different directions and to try things, eventually, absolutely guaranteed, you will stumble on the thing that you are absolutely driven and passionate about. Make the choice, commit to it, and really try it. And then, if it doesn't work out, never be afraid to change. Never be afraid to choose to change, because that is your right, and that is what will help get you in the right direction. When I talk about there being unlimited opportunities in the world, I'm not kidding. This is TAFE South Australia at Coober Pedy, the Coober Pedy campus. You can literally come out into the middle of the desert and study a TAFE course. So if that's an option for you, and it is an option for you, quite literally, then there is literally unlimited options for you. So don't be afraid to choose. Remember, we're starting big and we're trying to narrow things down. All you're trying to do is to choose a really broad direction to head in. So whether that's choosing medicine or choosing languages, that just seems to be the example I'm using in this video, you just have to choose one and get started on it. You're going to find smaller options and refinements within that first big area that you have chosen. And bit by bit, we're going to get closer and closer to our truth. So take your time, because you've literally got your entire life to get this done. So we might as well enjoy the journey rather than putting pressure on ourselves. Whatever you're getting up to today, have a great day. It's been awesome talking to you here on Choosing Your Uni. I'm Rob Malicki. Have a good one.